Hi, I'm Xysis, and this is Hearts of Iron 4, Laris Stones. So today we're going to be starting a new campaign with the United Kingdoms of Great Britain, or England. This will be a historic campaign, so we're going to be playing along as nicely as we can, and we'll see where we end up. We'll try to get the correct dates and everything, or at least do all the operations that the British actually did during the war. So we'll see how the AI plays ball, and we'll have to adapt to that. This will be a post episode, or we're going to do all the setup and everything, and I want to do it this way because we can take our time a little bit more to actually set the game up. And if this isn't your cup of tea, you can either use the timestamps down below to orient yourself to what you think is important or what you want to watch, and skip the parts you don't want to watch, or go back to parts you want to rewatch. And there'll be an episode 2 out shortly with where we actually press play, and I'll probably have a small recap in the start of that one too, just on the how we set up and how we started, so everyone's on the same ball when we go. And as you might have noticed, I've got a new logo and a new channel background and a bit of a theme going on. I thought it was time to change it up. The old one was reminiscent of the city skyline, so just in case you actually noticed that too. And so I think it's about time we get into the setup of the game here. So we'll go in here and we'll select the United Kingdom, of course. And back in here, we're not going to be playing on Iron Man mode. And it doesn't really matter because I've got some mods activated, and we'll go through them too. We will be playing historical AI focuses, and it's mostly the same as it is. I've edited the order of focuses a little bit for Germany, Italy and Japan. Japan has a bug in their focus tree which I fixed. Italy's focuses aren't really that well ordered for playing historical game, so I fixed it up a bit. And the same thing with Germany, they miss out on a couple of key focuses that I think they really should be taking to make it more historical, and push the invasion of France up onto their correct dates in May and June of 40. We'll also be playing with some custom game rules here, so let's load up this preset. We've got 2 ticks of buffs to Germany, to give them some extra political power and experience, and some other much needed boosts for them. We will also be strengthening Italy and Japan as their allies, or pseudo-allies. We have to strengthen the Soviets a bit so they can actually withstand the onslaught for a little bit. But it will be mostly up to us to actually lend the Soviet Union what they need to be able to withstand Germany and Italy. At least that's what I hope. And we've also got China a little bit to not be overrun by Japan quite as easily. And we've also got a small change down here. The release nations is blocked, because I don't like the AI doing all these tiny things everywhere. So, yeah, we can go through the mods a little bit too when we get into the game here. So we've got a few mods going on here, and let's start from the top up. One of the easiest ones is, if we go in here, I've got the turret fix mod installed, so you can see both of these turrets are facing the same way. And if we put on 2 on the rear here, no, I can't have one there. But if I could put another one on here, we can't on the early chip up. But if we could put another one on, it would point the same way. In vanilla they will point away from each other. And that was a valid design, so there were a few designs or ships built with that design. To keep the armor in a more concentrated place around the magazines, and just have one central area that needed to be armored. And I like this better. It's just a visual thing anyway. So, and the other thing is we've got my division counter mod. They're both linked down below. If you want to check them out, you can do that. It just gives NATO counters for us to use. And I've got a couple of empty spaces down here too, which I haven't really been feeling like filling up just yet. And then there's a third mod that's installed, and this is another self-made mod called the Naval AI Strategy mod. Nice. And it changes little bit of the order of battles of the major nations. I haven't done England yet, so we're playing on a mostly vanilla order of battle. So everything we've got is basically the same. There are 3 changes that do affect us. One is the town class cruisers down here. Normally you start with 3 town class cruisers in production, where 2 of them have been picked up this way and have 50% completion. I've put them all at 25%, so you've got 5 cruisers at 25% instead of 2 at 50 and 1 at 25. And this is just so we don't cancel 2 of them and reorder them as an upgraded version. So we get the 5 town class cruisers that were laid down by now actually in the production queue. I like it this way a bit more. I've also, as you see, edited the files so that all these are filled up to 10, because we're gonna go through all of this later. And Arc had is moved up to the top, so we don't have to do that either. There is also a ship class in vanilla that is called, no, it's under the CAs. Yeah, we've got it here. It's the York class. In vanilla, no ships actually use the York class template. All of them use the county class. But I've switched the 2 York class cruisers. That's down here. We've got HMS York. It's actually a York class now instead of a county class. And the more famous one of the 2 is down here on the Falklands. We've got HMS Exeter, which is also York class. And she's famous for fighting the Admiral Graf Spee, of course, in the battle for the River Plate. And there's one more small change that does affect us, but we won't be using. And that is, I've added the ability to add fuel tanks to submarines, so you can increase the range a bit if you want to. But we're not going to deal with submarines in this playthrough, so we might build a few, but probably not. But I haven't planned for it anyway. I know the UK did use quite a lot of submarines, especially here in the central Mediterranean, to stop the convoys going over to North Africa. But yeah, we'll lay low with the submarines and let the US handle that instead. Alright. Let's check out the nation then a little bit. So we'll just pop in here and we can see that we've got Mr. Stanley Baldwin here. He's a conservative grandee, and the important part here is the political advisor cost, minus 10%. And this makes all our advisors cost 135 political power. And now this obviously is important to know, because he'll only be around for a little bit over a year. I think it's in March 37 he resigns. And we get a new leader. When we get to that, But we want to fill these slots out within the first year. So a lot of our early political power is going into that, of course. We've also got 4 national spirits. We're a signatory of the London Naval Treaty, which limits the max size of our capital ships. We've got British Stoicism. Don't really know how to pronounce that. I can hear it in my head, but I can't pronounce it. So it doesn't really match for us. Ideology drift defense, well, it's nice, but no one's going to try to sway us, and we're very democratic. Makes a lot of a difference if you want to go old history, of course, because it's going to take a lot longer. We got the war to end all wars, which reduces our recruitable population by 30%. We've got a lot more manpower today than we would have in earlier versions, which I think is fair. And a lot of it comes from the occupied territories. We've also got King George V, which has increases stability by 15%. And we've got loads of stability. We've also got 15 war support, which is enough to go up to early mobilization. However, we won't, if we go up to early mobilization, say after Ethiopia is finished, as soon as Stanley Baldwin resigns, we'll have to go back to civilian economy. So switching early isn't worth it unless you can keep the war support up by means of, don't think we've actually got anyone here that gives us, that we've got access to anyway. No. So that doesn't matter at all. We're on export focus. We could go to free trade or limited exports, but no, we're going to stick to export focus. I think this is good enough and not worth political power to do research a little bit faster and build a little bit faster, and I think the method would be to go to free trade, but nah, but I feel like that's like cheating. We're on volunteer only, and that's fine for us. We've got the occupied territories here. We've got quite a lot of them. We've got territories. You can probably zoom out. Does resistance help us see? No. Compliance, yeah, that colors them a little bit more. We've got some territories here, we've got here, we've got a few islands down here, and a few islands here, a little bit up there. And we've also got our 5 puppets, of course. Puppets we can look at easier from... it's easiest if we actually get in on our... No, can't do that either. Oh well. Yeah, we can go in on the manage subjects one, of course. But one thing we're going to do here before we start is switch over from civilian oversight to local autonomy. This gives us 0.2% more compliance gain. We're already at 70% in all our territories, but this will make us reach 100% for the war. So that's a very good thing, and it will slowly take us in a little bit more resources, a little bit more manpower, and a little bit more factories. A few of these are actually giving us factories already. So let's pop back here. We've got our subjects, our 6 subjects, and we're probably mostly going to be playing with Malaya and Raj. We can get some troops from them, and we'll see what our allies here gets up to, or our dominions. We're going to try to keep them at the same status as they are. It's not really worth messing too much with. Maybe we could make the Raj demote them to puppet level or something instead of colony. But it doesn't really matter for what we're doing. They were at this status for the entire war. We've also got the national focus tree, and the British tree is quite a big one. But obviously the right part of it here, this part we're not going to be touching at all. So let's start from the left here. We've got the limited rearmament here, which is a very good focus for civilian factories. Aberdeenshire and Northern Ireland, I guess we could have been a little bit luckier with those roles. I usually like to have them up in Scotland if I can. Then we've got these focuses below. We can go straight to motorized army and tank regiment, but I have a hard time actually motivating myself to take this. You can get a lot more powerful focuses for 70 days. And research boost to motorized or armor technology, especially as we do have loads of research speed as Britain. We've got the Shadow Sheen, which requires 5% world tension, which unlocks industry and research slot, and some more factories. And these factories we won't get until we're actually at war, I think. Yeah, I don't think that's the one. No, this is the one where we get when they're at war. So it's 4 military factories, but we don't get them instantly. We get them when we enter war. We got air defense, also 5% world tension, which leads to probably the best radar focus in the game. There's 3 research boosts, so we want to save those up for the later radar techs. And then we got the crypto bomb, which increases decryption speed. Really good focus that too, but it's locked behind being at war with Germany, of course. And then these are down for the nuclear weapon. And then we've got the general rearmament, which is locked behind 10% world tension, so a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit longer until we can take that. Our entire naval tree is below this one, except for, yeah, this one requires naval rearmament as well, not only overseas service up here. And that's the cruiser one. Decreases cruiser production cost, very good focus. Same thing with this one, convoy escort focus. Decreases the light hull cost and convoy cost, very good focus there too. We're going to be messing around a bit with these. Air focuses down here, and some SAS service, special air service SAS battalions. And then we've got the colonial tree, which is also split up into 2, which makes it take a lot more space than we'll actually be using. So this is more the decolonization route. We won't be decolonization, we'll be going this way. And we probably won't mess too much with it down here. We might go for a few of these fortified ones if we have the time. But this one here is really good. That's 7% research speed, so that's a lot. That's half a research slot, more or less, as we start. And there's some stability there and some experience here, which also isn't to scoff at, of course. And then we've got the political tree down here. And we'll be going steady as she goes, and we'll be actually starting this one, because it's we can do it that way and then continue looking at it a bit more. And home defense, this is a route the AI takes when it goes on historical, but I think we're going to go with global defense. And we'll probably not take motion of no confidence until Neville Chamberlain actually resigns on his own. That minus 10 stability hurts quite a lot, and this one is also minus 10% stability. But we needed to remove the war to end all wars. In the other side we ended here, at the Military Training Act. No further appeasement is a really good focus, allows us to actually pull off a lot of the things that the UK did historically, so that's going to be a key one too. And then we've got a few more factories down here and some other focuses that's going to help us do what we need to do. And that was also a nice one if we want to go down that route. So that's where we are. And probably the meta start would be to go limited rearmament. This is such a strong focus. We're delaying it 35 days, and I think we can survive without 4 factories for 35 days and still beat the AI. Let's check out the Intel Agency 2. It's a quick one. We're just going to create it. The agency is being formed. Perfect. We want this from the get-go because we want to get started on getting some of these operations going, of course. And then we're going to go into construction and we'll fix up this too. And we're going to build infrastructure first. And we're going to build some civilian factories. We'll put these in London. And the reason we want to build infrastructure here is, of course, to build up the naval base in here. And yeah, we can probably leave that in the queue. It doesn't really matter that much. We're going to fill it up with we can probably put the civilian factories in here as well, below the respective infrastructure. So once the infrastructure is finished, it's okay to start building civilian factories there. And the reason we want to have infrastructure up to Liverpool here is because most of the convoys were routed into here in real life, because the ports down here were dangerous. And obviously these are dangerous in the game too. As soon as Germany has taken France and there's full of Axis planes all over the place, and maybe even some patrols. So we'll do the same thing. We'll avoid this region and we'll reroute our convoys to come in this way. And that means all our supplies are going out this way too, and then we need good infrastructure to get up here and a good port to ship it out from. So that's the reasoning behind that. Alright, so let's set up our production too. We can start with deploying some troops. And let's go up to 2 there, and 9. We're choosing the colonial garrison troops. They're not very good, but we want some more of them just to bolster our ranks a little bit. We've also got some subjects, and they've got a quite hefty infantry division. They've got another exactly the same division, and an armor division that's actually better than our armor division, but it's crap. But we'll take this. We can take the normal infantry division. Let's just put a few of these on training too. I don't know how many do we want. Maybe let's put on 4 there. Maybe up to 12. These need, of course, to be deployed in India. We've also got another ally, or puppet, the Malaya. Don't have much to choose from here. It's not the best template, but oh well. It doesn't hurt to have a few of these either. 3. Yeah, that's 12 of them. I guess that's fine. We can deploy them down here, and they need to guard Malaya and Borneo, and maybe some islands out here too. Let's see. We need some troops down here at least to help garrison all our things. We've got a few islands out here too. We might want to have a garrison. We might need more of those as time goes on. So, back to England. Now we've got some production going on down here, and we can start from the top. Let's deselect the ships for now. And we don't want to be producing these interwar bombers or fighters, neither of them actually. But we do have up-to-date close air support. We'll switch one over to close air support. One factory will give us 200 to 300 close air support before the war. We'll just cancel that one outright. And together we've already got something like 300 CAS, so we'll have plenty of CAS with just one factory building them. We're gonna want to add in some anti-air guns here. We also want to add in some motorized. And then we want 7 factories on making guns, 1 on artillery, 2 on support equipment. Bump that one up. And that's all our factories we've got. So let's cancel these out. As you can see, we've got 3 factories set on the Arc Royale. This was one of the changes I did in the OOB, so you don't have to see me do it. This gives us a June 1938 launch date for it. It was commissioned in December, I think, of 38, so I think that's fair. And she'll go directly to home fleet, if we can find the home fleet. There we go. That was where she was originally deployed, so put her in there. Mix 50-50 fighters bombers. It's probably better to have more bombers and less fighters. Yeah, that's fine for now. I might actually want to put some carrier CAS on here instead. We can deal with that when she's launched. There's no rush. All of these are the ones we can just put into British theatre and they'll end up into a reserve fleet. We can sort them out from there as needed. This is a little bit of tedious still, but you can set which deployment theatre you want them into from the files, so you'll just have to bear with me here for a second. We've got a few more. It's a lot of clicking. The British were building a lot of ships at this point in time. They were modernizing their cruiser fleet and building loads of destroyers because most of the destroyers were from World War I. There we go. And I of course added 2 more town class and removed 2 from the queue there. Got a few more Leanders, 4 of them coming out. And these are the J class that are in here. The H class was ordered in 37, I think, or laid down in 37. 16 of them, plus a few that were supposed to be sold down to South America that didn't get sold. They were taken over by the UK as well. Alright. So we need to... As for research, it's not that big of a deal. You know what we usually start with. Except Britain already has electromechanical engineering, so we're obviously going for mechanical computing. We do start with basic fire control too, which is quite cool. And then we want basic machine tools and construction. And then we've got a 4th slot here, which one of the normal plays you do is go for the Hurricanes directly, which is quite nice, but I kind of want to have the light aircraft manufacturer before going for the Spitfires. And we don't have any free factories for them anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much at this point. Could go for some doctrines of one type of another. Going Grand Battle Plan I think is another solid choice. Light tanks another solid choice. Marines is another good solid choice. You can actually get them out quite quickly. No, I don't think the synthetics are any good here. Could go for the heavy fighters or tactical bombs too, of course, with scout planes. But the same thing there as with the Hurricanes, we don't have the production capacity to build any more of these just yet. Anti-tanks are going to be crucial as well against the Germans. Don't have the production to build them either. So what we're going to do is military police. Because that's something we can use as soon as we've got enough army experience for it. So we'll start there. Okay, so let's get down to some of the fun stuff here then. Now we're going to be setting up our order of battle. So we'll start here in England. We'll select these northern divisions. We can go under Field Marshal, and that'll be fine. And then we'll select these southern divisions. And maybe we actually want to have these Welsh units over here, the northern divisions. Give them both the same amount. Also put them under the same field marshal. Got our armored unit here. And we've got 2 of these cavalry divisions. Now these cavalry divisions will be stand-in until we actually get that far. So all of these will be commanded by Alan Brooke. Or Alan Broke, I think it's actually pronounced. He has a trait we can select, but we don't have any command power for it, so we'll have to go through all of that at a later date. And this is home command. We can probably call this one home as well. That was the term the British military used. This is the Northern Command. And assigned here, we've got Henry. Oh, come on then, I wanted to type. We've got Henry Wilson, which did command the Northern, did hold the Northern Command for about half the war, I think. So it's a fitting character for protecting this. We can probably put them on area defense up to there somewhere. This isn't really northern. I don't think this is northern either. Yeah, we'll have them all the way over here. We should probably have them there as well. Now let's put them on garrisoning Fort 0 for now. There we go. And then for the second part here, this is the Southern Command, and these will be commanded by Miles Dempsey. He's an infantry officer and a brilliant strategist. He's one of our best officers, I think. So fitting that he protects the southern coast here. Same thing, we'll assign him to guard the ports here in London too. Thank you very much. Let's keep the... he's got nearly enough. That's fine. Can probably activate the victory points there too. We'll bolster these numbers a little bit later. And then here we've got the first armored division. And this will be the first armored army instead. And commanding this, we've got Brian Horrocks, one of the big aces. They probably won't be sticking around on England for very long, but he's under home command for now, so let's have him here. And then we've got 2 small special armies here that we're creating a little bit ahead of time. We've got the, we can actually spell it out, British Expeditionary Force. And obviously it isn't going to be a cavalry brigade under here, but for now it is. And I think it was Lord Gort that commanded the BEF in Europe. So he'll get some troops to be assigned there, and after he was done with that he actually got relegated to command down here in Malta, I think. So we'll let him command the BEF and we'll see what happens. And this last one is going to be the Royal Marines. They're going to be responsible for a whole bunch of operations. Obviously not going to be a cavalry division either. But we don't have any Marines yet, so that's what it is. And here we got Claude Auchinleck. He's an inflexible strategist. And got very good supply consumption skill and a very good defensive skill. So good for quite a few of the operations that we'll be using him for. After that we've got Gibraltar and Malta Command. Let's create a new theater, and this can be... Actually, let's call this one Africa. I think that's more fitting. This will also be under Field Marshal. And then we've got a few troops here. It will also be under there. We'll swap them around. We'll have the eastern side. Yeah, you go under there too. And we've got the cavalry brigade. Let's pop them in here too. And do it that way. And then we've got the Aden Defense Force, Sudan Defense Force, and what do I have down here? The North Rhodesia groups. I'm thinking in North Rhodesia groups can go to there, and then we've got 4 of these here. And then we've got these 2 as well, 1st and 2nd West Africa. I don't envision us fighting anywhere here anytime soon, so we're actually going to move these over up to Egypt. I think they do a little bit more use up there. And yeah, we probably have to scuttle these guys around Ethiopia. And we can probably put them on the border there for now. You can stay put here in Aden, that's fine. Up here we'll just separate these out a little bit so we have them on their proper sides. Same thing here, let's put up a guard order. Yeah, that's fine. Yes, we have some troops around here. And we're obviously going to have to bolster all these groups. And commander of all of these armies, of course, is going to be Bernard Montgomery. Who else? And this, we can probably rename this one to, well, yeah, we'll just call it the African Command for now. It was divided up into the North African and East African, and I think even the West African commands. So, but we got them all into the same one here, and I think that's fair enough for what we're going to do here in the game. So this is going to be the come on, that was the wrong 8th Army, and this is going to be commanded by Neil Ritchie. The 8th was commanded by I don't know how many commanders during World War II, so it's just pick and choose basically and who you want to have here. Neil Ritchie has a good defensive skill and a good supply consumption skill, so he's a solid choice for this position. No, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, because here we've got the 9th Army. Oh, same thing again, 9th Army. And these guarded the east side towards Syria here when Vichy France took over. And obviously these are going to be commanded by none less than Alan Cunningham. We've got quite a few Cunninghams, but this is Alan, and he's going to be in command here. He was in command of this eastern force quite some time during the war. Then we've got the cavalry brigade here. This is the 7th Armored. The cavalry brigade was converted into the 7th Armored in 38, I think. So let's get Jock Campbell on commanding that. We can have his horses there for now. And then we've got the Gibraltar command here. We're probably going to put Lord Gort on here later on, but for now we'll be fine with Oliver Lees here. We can get him out to command some tanks or something maybe later on. But he did command, I think, Gibraltar during at least the early part of the war. So we'll have him there. And then now we're getting ahead of ourselves again. We obviously want to name this one first. These are the East African Corps. And these were commanded by quite a few different ones, but William Platt was the most successful one. So we'll let Platt keep command of the troops down here. And that's all for our African commands. Now we've also got some troops over here, and actually not enough to actually do the order of battle we want here, but that's what it is. We'll be getting a little bit more of these later on. So this can be the Asian Command, and let's see, we're gonna split these up, Yang Fortress, and this is the same thing. This is just temporary groups to get the commanders down. all of them in under here, of course. And to command these, we obviously can't select the commander just yet. But we're gonna have Archibald Wavell here, and lucky for us, he's a career officer, so it's easier to promote him into this position. But we'll have to wait for that until the next episode. We've got here in the 1st Army here, this is going to be the India command. And in India we've got none other than Jackie Smith. He's an old guard, but he was in command of the forces in India. So he gets Ceylon Defense Force for now. And we'll add some Indian divisions to him once he gets that far. Then we've got the, we're up in Hong Kong here now. For my sanity, let's put Hong Kong down at the end here, but we can select these while we're at it. This is Hong Kong command is fine enough. And to command here, we've got O'Connor. There we've got Richard O'Connor. And I think he was in command of the Hong Kong when Hong Kong capitulated. And let's see, we've got the Burma command. And here we're gonna have William Slim, I think. Yeah, Slim. And he did a great job at resisting the Japanese here in Burma. He fell back, I think, all the way back to Dhaka here. And they held around here somewhere. The Japanese took over quite a lot of territory here. But then they did end up fighting back quite a lot here. So that's quite an interesting story to read about, actually. And here we've got the Malaya command. Easy and simple. And if you know your history, Arthur Percival has to be the one here. He was the one that surrendered Fortress Singapore. So I think that's all for our army order of battle. We've still got to assign Archibald there, of course. We'll do that at a later date. So we'll... oh boy. Okay, so let's now always end up in the air screen. Let's tackle the Navy. Now this is a big beast. Let's start with, I think, taking all the submarines and create a new task force. Yes, we've got them separated out for now. Makes it a little bit less cluttered. And we'll start here with, let's see what we've got. We've got the American West Indies Fleet and South Atlantic Fleet. I want to have them separated. I wish we could drag and drop these fleets up and down here too. Maybe we can here? No. They're stuck where they are. That's the South Atlantic Fleet and the South Atlantic Squadron. They can go together. That's just a bunch of destroyers and small cruisers anyway. We'll probably have to scavenge this fleet out to other places. Then, so we've got Bermuda here and we've got Falkland Islands here. We also want one command for, we've got the East Indies here. And this is also going to be the Pacific Fleet. So we're going to separate those out. The East Indies Fleet we can separate out to a separate entity. As that's we're going to be mostly in charge of the Indian Ocean, the West Indian Ocean. Or, yeah, around this area anyway. And then we're going to have the Pacific Fleet in charge of this area. So we have to make up our own order of battle a little bit, because why not? The New Zealand division can be attached to the China fleet for now. The Leanders, they're going to be replaced or be incorporated into other fleets. Then we've also got one more that we want to create. I think this should be under the Home Command. Yeah, they're based in Gibraltar. So let's bring these ones out to a separate command as well. So we've got Home Command. with the main British fleet. We've got the home fleet. What we're going to do here is move out a few of the battleships. So we want Nelson, we want Royal Oak, we want... I don't think we've got all of them we want here though. Let's see, I just have to check my notes a little bit here. Revenge and Resolution. No, they're not here, they're in one of the other fleets. And we want them into their own task force, but still under here. No. Now we move the entire home fleet out, alright. You just get back up here. Yeah, that's fine. We want to Nelson and Royal Oak create new task force. That small button we want to press. And these aren't supposed to be one of those. We want these to have the gun icon. Yeah, so we know that yes, this is our... Okay, we can actually name this one, because this is the second, I believe, battle squadron. And this is going to be the home fleet. We're not going to have any more of the battleships here. Let's just press that way and we get the separate one with the battleships in. We're going to move some of these off to other fleets in a second. Then down here we've got the Courageous, Resolution and Revenge. I think it was Resolution and Revenge we wanted. Yeah. The Resolution and Revenge go into the second battle squadron. Courageous goes into the home fleet. And the destroyers can... We probably want to move these destroyers down to air for now. And the reserve fleet, Queen Elizabeth and Valiant, I think they're supposed to stay there. I'm going to be using these two cruisers for something in a bit. We can keep those there. These destroyers can go down there. We'll just go through all the destroyers at a later time and sort them out. This Effingham we're going to be using. So if we just take Effingham, let's take the Northern Patrol, get them down there. Western approaches, only things we can put down there. Portsmouth Fleet. Suffolk's gonna get a different task, so split her off. Take the Portsmouth Fleet, bump them down to the reserves. And we can probably take, yeah, we want to merge those into there later on. Alright, so in the, here we go, in the home fleet. Can we drag these here? No. In the home fleet we've got Furious and Courageous. We're not supposed to have Furious here. Furious. Go down to the Mediterranean. And left we've got the Hood, the Repulse and the Renown. That's the, the Battlecruiser Squadron. We've got Norfolk, which is supposed to be here at home, I think. Yes, but she's supposed to be in a separate fleet and not with an airplane. Now let's see, we'll put them there. This is the first cruiser squadron, and that consists, at least here, of Norfolk. It's going to be a light cruiser as well. And then somewhere in Suffolk and Effingham, let's put them just into a new row for now, so we know where we got them. We can put them down there, so we keep our capital ships down here that we're done with. All of these cruisers, I just want to do the main... Oh, I've got a few destroyers with there too. Taking her down to the reserves. And there we've got London. London's going to be a separate fleet. We're going to select binoculars here as well. And London is part of the second cruiser squad. So then we've got our four main ones. So we could call this one the Battlecruiser Squadron, or or the carrier squadron. But I've combined them both because they've got a good enough speed that they cooperate very well with each other as a strike force. And let's see here, this is Frobisher and Hawkins. We're going to be using in a bit. So let's pop them down there. I think Elizabeth and Valiant are part of the reserve fleet. These are light cruisers, and Adventure is actually part of here. I will just call her the mine laying. And that's going to be fine the way it is. And then we've got these capital ships. Mostly these can go down to the reserves because they're going to be in reserve. And this is the North Fleet. Can also go. This is mostly destroyers, so back in down there it's destroyers and a light cruiser. So now we've got the home command ordered up. And here we've actually got two choices. We've got Admiral Forbes. He's a level 3 one and was in command in the beginning of the war. And we've also got Admiral, oh come on, Admiral Toby. And yeah, so he's probably the better commander. Somerville's going to be in charge of the Pacific, of course. And I don't think we've got any other. Would be nice to have one. Fraser. Where we got Fraser? Don't think we got Fraser. Because maybe he would actually be the better one. Didn't I have Fraser written down? Had I written Forbes? Okay. I think it's supposed to be Fraser here. Retreat chance, maybe not. Fleet speed while retreating. And now we've got Forbes down here, Icewater. Yeah, I think we go with Fraser here. I'm fairly certain he's the one that's supposed to be, not Forbes. Okay, so in the Mediterranean we've got Glorious down here. And Glorious is supposed to be down there in the Pacific. Warspite, Barnham and Malaya are supposed to be here, as is Devonshire, Shropshire and Sussex. So they're all in the same. But we want to split out Devonshire and Shropshire into another cruiser squadron. And this is going to be the third cruiser squadron. And we're going to split out Sussex. This is going to be the 7th cruiser squadron. Does an update there? No, it does. Good. And then we've got. So, what more do we need up here? We need one of the capital ships from down here. I'm gonna have Rodney join up with the Mediterranean fleet. And she wasn't there at this point in time, but she did arrive later on. And I think the same thing here, we do want to move a few of these other ships out. We'll take these and we'll pop them down there and we'll sort them all, we'll merge them up and sort them out, I think. So in the Mediterranean, we've got Furious is coming this way, we've got Rodney coming this way, we've got Warspite, Barnham and Malaya. We're also going to have one more. We're also going to send over Eagle to the Mediterranean. And over here in America, we've got Berwick and New York. I think this one is fine, but let's start with giving the Mediterranean its commander. It's going to be Andrew Cunningham. And he's one of our best generals. It makes a lot of sense here in the... And he's got a lot of heavy ships on his side too. So he makes a lot of sense here in the Mediterranean. And he was in command of it in real life too. I kind of don't want to have these ships sitting. I want to have the Far East command up here. We need to kind of move this one down. Mediterranean command, Far East command, that's probably a good name for it though. If we want to we just split you out into new fleet, and that means we can move up to the Pacific fleet. And let's actually call this the Pacific fleet. And in the Pacific fleet, this one's going to be called Far East command is fine. This one's not supposed to be the Pacific fleet. This is supposed to be the 3rd battle squadron. Did we name the Mediterranean fleet? We did not, because this is the 1st battle squadron, of course. And there's not supposed to be a period there. There we go. Just for the sake of everything being correct. And they got the 3rd and the 7th. Here we got the 3rd battle squadron. And they can have an airplane because they will have carriers. Maybe we should spell that correctly too. And what more do we have going on down here? We want glorious and formidable. We've got glorious is attaching. Where do we have formidable? Hermes is supposed to go up to the home fleet. Let's see, we maybe have Frobisher, Hawkins, Vermeil's Royal Sovereign. Both of these two are supposed to go to the 3rd battle squadron. Yes, that's fine. We've got Suffolk. No, we're not finding formidable, of course, because it's a later ship. We're gonna build her later. It's an illustrious class carrier. But Glorious is on her way. And that means we've got Glorious here, and we've got the 2 battleships Royal Sovereign and Vermeil's. We've got the 4th cruiser squadron, consisting of Kent. So let's split her off as a scouting force. I could have put the name in there too, of course. And said that this is the 4th cruiser squadron. And then we've also got Cornwall and Dorsetshire. And these are also going to be a cruiser squadron. They're the 5th cruiser squadron. And yeah, the name hasn't updated there yet. No. Got it spelled correctly too, I think. These are going to be commanded by James Bound Somerville, which of course is going to make sense as soon as we end up at war with Japan. And after this we've got South Atlantic Fleet. So we need to bring up, so we've got the, do we have the, no, we've got the North Atlantic Fleet first. That's fine, I'm just cycling them down that way. The submarines will all be split up between probably these 3 fleets. I will see what we do with them. I don't have that many plans for the submarines. So we're currently here in Gibraltar. Yeah, that's the North Atlantic Fleet. We want this one, of course. let's keep bumping these down. Yes, we need to select all three that way. Now we've got Bermuda here. And let's just call this Bermuda command. And it's supposed to be HMS Berwick and HMS York. And Orion, I guess that's fine. It's supposed to be a light cruiser here too. So, and instead of calling it this is going to be the 8th cruiser squadron. And these will be assigned to Admiral Harwood. He was in command here in real life. So the next one is this one with HMS Exeter and HMS Cumberland. These ones we can drop down to there because they're going to be redistributed. And for our own sanity, we'll call this a Hulk. Come on then. Lance command. And these are going to be under Willis. And we've got HMS Exeter and HMS Cumberland here. And they'll also be joined by a few destroyers and I think Ajax does fine down here. Ajax was down here with Exeter hunting the Admiral Graf's Bay. So, and the next one we want in line is here. We want the North Atlantic Fleet. We want this one to be called Gibraltar Command. And we probably don't want to have it called this. And this is going to be the 11th Cruiser Squadron. And here we're gonna get 2 cruisers. Let's see if we can find them. Suffolk and Effingham. We're gonna go to the 11th. And they're on their way. And both of these ships were assigned in the North Atlantic to convoy duties. Up here. But I figured let's use them for something better in the game than convoy garrisoning or convoy escorting. So we'll pop them here in the Gibraltar command. They make more sense there. And these are going to be commanded by Rawlings Bernard. He's a gentleman. Makes perfect sense in Gibraltar. And we're probably gonna have to. Let's get these new fleet and pop them down there, just so we don't have the bloated fleet there. We forgot to rename Algernon's force here, and this is gonna be the 6th Cruiser Squadron. And then down. Yeah, then we've got Frobisher and Hawkins. And these were also assigned to convoy escort duties in the North Atlantic. And I'd rather not have them there. So we're going to rebase them to... let's rebase them here to Ceylon. That's fine. And this is going to be the Indian Ocean Command. Actually, let's call it Ceylon Command. Ceylon is Sri Lanka, of course, or known as Sri Lanka now. And here we want to have power. He's a gunnery expert. That goes well with these 2 very old cruisers. And I think one of these actually saw, I think Frobisher saw service down here in the Indian Ocean. Was sunk too, I seem to remember. They're also going to get a few other ships here, of course. Alright, and left, and these are just some light cruisers. And what do we have here? Let's separate out all our destroyers. There we go. second battle, then we got them all put up properly there. We probably split the mine laying fleet out to its own entity. That can be, we'll do it this way, and we'll put the submarines down here too. Just a little bit out of the way. We won't give that a name now. We can just ignore those for now. And we want to have some, we probably want to have town class cruisers with our, or a few of them at least, with the 3 big main battle fleets, or the 4 main battle fleets we've got. Channel Force is mostly destroyers now, some old cruisers. Let's see if we can find our new cruisers. Okay, so let's see if we can start putting some destroyers at least into some of these lesser fleets. We want to have a convoy escort fleet going as well, of course, with the oldest of the ships. And I think that's the C-class cruisers. Let's check quickly here. We've got these ones, we've got the C-class and the Danae and the Emerald class. They're all tier 1 cruisers, so let's get the C-class, they're the cheapest. And we've got the D stuff on. I think here we've got one more torpedo launcher, and coming up to this one we get the second gun as well. So the Emerald class is actually a decent one for fleet combat as well. These ones we can keep for convoy escort. And we've got quite a lot of cruisers. We've got the C class, so we've got 13 of these. We're going to put 12 of them to convoy escort duty, so let's find 12 of them. That's 3. That's the last one. We can probably keep these down here too, not to make them an airplane. Do I have a good escort one? I don't know, let's use this one. No C classes in there. None in there, we missed one. Here we've got Leander, but also C class. This C class one can go into there, that's 4. The North Fleet, we've got Curacao, that's 5. Carlisle and Curlew, 7. And Calcutta makes 8. Only destroyers. There we got 1. 9. And some more there, some more here. That was all the ones we got there. We should be able to find a few more of them in here somewhere. So we got Colombo and Cape Town. We're gonna have to leave active here until Effingham and Suffolk has arrived. And that's fine. Gibraltar can keep one of the destroyers. That makes 11, and we want to find one more. We might actually want to find the last one as well. So let's pop her in there, and Caledon make a new task force and come down. Yeah. No, we just want you to move down into the reserves. There we go. Let's see if we can't get some of these destroyers sorted out then. Let's start with the VW1s. These unfortunately don't have any sonar, but they do have depth charges. So we're going to be using them in the escort fleets. And the escort fleet's going to be 10 or 12 maybe? Yeah, maybe I'll have to just check quickly here. The escort fleets are going to have 7 destroyers in each. That means we've got 7 times 12, we need 114 of them. And we probably don't have all of them. So let's separate these out. And we'll just count them in. let's make it that way. That's the A classes. All of these can go into there. All of these can go into there. And these of course are going to be speeding all around the world for this. I put those in there. Then A class. Got Winchester. None of them there. Actually the S class is basically the same thing. They're missing the anti-air gun, which is perfectly fine for convoy escort duties. So just pop them in there too. Put them there. Put these, pop them into there. And down here. Put a few there. All of these. It makes it a little bit cleaner up here for us to select which ones we want to go into our other fleets here. And those can go into there. And I think that's most of them. There might be a few hanging about somewhere around here, but that's fine. Yeah, we'll leave them be. Alright, so we've got to put up some cruisers. We're gonna go with having, this is the last C-class cruiser. We can probably go into the East Indies fleet has dock and sail on. Oh yeah, these are just the last of the other ones, yeah. Because we haven't assigned a commander to this one. This is one that could just as well be down here. So, and the Danae class is the same as the C class with an exception of having one more torpedo launcher. So they're as useless. These are our good destroyers. These actually have sonar. So they make good sense to probably want to have one of these into each of these 12 escort fleets. So we've got 9 here. Put those down and we'll select. Let's see if we can find a few more of these E-class. We've got a few more S-classes there. Get them over there. We should be getting enough of them now. Oh, come on then. Did we really get all of the... No, we maybe got all of the E-class. Yeah, because the rest are in the EQ probably. Alright, so down here on the Falklands, we can start with the we want to have 2 cruisers in each of these. So in Gibraltar we want to have, I didn't name this one here. This is going to be the 9th Cruiser Squadron. In real life, the 9th Cruiser Squadron was all about up here in the North Sea convoy escorting. Not so much here, of course. And I think we can probably put one of these into there. And maybe one of the Emerald class as well. And let's see, Dauntless can go into the... Here we've got one. Do these also have sonar? I think they might. Yeah, they do. So these are the ones we want here, not these ones. We want to keep those. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Pop those off. Pop those down there. And we'll see what we end up with when everyone arrives down here. Let's do it that way. We can sort them out in a bit. These are the ones we want to Leander class. These are good ones. see what more we have. We've got destroyers, loads of Danae class, 1 destroyer, 2 more emeralds. I think we can send one of these up to 11, and let's send the other one up to 6. That will bring them both up to 2 heavy, 2 light cruisers. And 8 needs 1 too, it's got an emerald, so let's send up a Danae class. Actually, let's just send up one of these C class. I think that's fine for the Bermuda one. Yeah, that's good. And see here, we've got some more. And then up in these cruiser squadrons, we at least want them to be on par. I think we've got some more emeralds somewhere. That's the Queen Elizabeth Battalion. We can go down here. Less clutter. Yeah, there we've got a Leander class. And the same thing for the 7. And didn't we have a few more of the... maybe use the last emeralds. Yeah, looks like it. So let's put Durban up in first, and Dispatch up in the second. This brings all of these up to 2 cruisers. And some of them have 2 heavy cruisers, some have 1 heavy, 1 light. And the New Zealand division, they don't need to be here, of course. The 3rd Battle Squadron is gonna need a few anyway, so we can merge them in there. The 3rd Battle Squadron is gonna need to have... I didn't write that down, but probably 4 light cruisers. So we can start off with 2. And we've got 1st Battle Squadron. It's gonna be 4. I'm gonna need 6, I think, light cruisers. Don't think we've got 6 of them just yet. 1st battle. Let's put 1 in there. And 5. Let's put 2 of these. Diomede and Dragon can go into the 1st. And Delhi and Dunrain can go into Dunedin. Can go into the home fleet. That leaves us with a bunch of destroyers now, I think. Yeah. And we can probably start with filling up the cruiser squadrons, can't we? Now we just wanna put them into the main battle squadrons, I think. So we've got 10 of them here. And another 10. And another 10 here. And with the 9. So we've got 18 of the good ones. Let's split you off into your own fleet. That means we can put these 9 into home fleet. We can put these 9 into the 1st Battle Squadron. That's our good destroyers. We can put these 9 into the 3rd Battle Squadron. Then we'll have these into the 2nd Battle Squadron. I think that's good. Now we're gonna have to build loads of destroyers, of course. And then we got 3 more. Do we have any? Let's put 1 there. And 1 there. And 1 there. And that should be fine. We'll make a template or something for these in a bit. We can actually go in and fix a few of these. Because these are gonna be fleet destroyers. And these other ones are gonna be, yeah, they can be on as they are, that's fine. I think. Now we probably want to have these as fleet ones as well. as they're mostly marked up for that. We got a few down here as well, and I think that's fine having 12 of them. We've got 12 cruisers, and this is going to be a lot of ships in this one as soon as they actually get down here. We'll have to see where they end up. We're going to leave Queen Elizabeth and Valiant in reserve. We're probably going to use them when we start refitting our fleets. Adventure can be down here too, and as can all the submarines. And we'll deal with them later on when we feel like dealing with them. We're going to have to come back to the naval as soon as we start actually getting some more troops. Wow, that was a lot. But let's get on with the air here. And thankfully this is a lot quicker. So we'll select all of these. We'll disband them. Come down here, and we've got some down here and some down here. No, none down there. Down here, yeah. That's Hermes and her aircraft. We'll go over all the aircraft ones later on. Thought I pressed this one. All our surviving wings are on carriers. We'll deal with that once we start training the fleets. We can bump them up. And now we want to go back home. So we want to select air bases with enough space. We got West Midlands here. Let's put 100 close air support here. Duplicate it. Now we can probably would like to duplicate it 3 more times, but I don't think we can. No, we get 1 more. We can put these 3 on. We'll just shift click so they train until they're finished training. We'll let this one reinforce before we start training them. Now we got down here in Devonshire, Devon. We'll put up our. We can put up our interwar fighters. These are going to be specialized because we don't want them reinforcing with our new fighters. These are going to be dispersed out to the territories later on. So we'll do it that way. We can disband this last wing. And the same thing here. We want to put all of these, shift click to start training, or shift K is also fine. And now we've got a few interwar bombers. Doesn't really matter where we place these. Same thing here, specialized air wing. We'll duplicate that once. Shift K to get them training. And then we've got some. We can probably have them down here in Sussex. We've got some naval bombers. And we'll bump that up to 100. And we're not producing any of them, so they're not going to be training. There's no point in training the wings until they're actually ready for it. If you want to train one of these carrier fleets, you need to move it out. So we'll let all the naval stuff consolidate before we start training them, and actually let them restock on airplanes. So that's going to be a while before we start training them. What we can do, however, is set all these submarines to continuously train. This will give us a little bit of trickling of Navy experience, and we're going to need that. We can probably do the same thing with these. Important here is to enable automatic split off, so that when one ship gets damaged, they can go off and repair. And yeah, why not have these battleships too? These will shift click, so they'll just go out and train until they're finished. Do the same thing here. Just to get our Navy experience to start trickling in, because we're going to need quite a lot of this when we get to that. And one more thing before we leave off here for today. We're going to set all our armies to continually train. This experience desperately needed, and to fix this we probably need to do some of this. Now operations and garrisons always needs a lot of this. But we're probably gonna sneak down this a little, at least upgrades. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe we just let whatever's left over trickle in here as well. it should give us some troops at least. And how do we bump them up to full? We'll have them on the same priority as reinforcements. But that's all I've got for today. So thank you for watching. Take care and see you next time.